North Korea is putting increased emphasis on self-reliance these days while slamming the U.S. and the international community for its sanctions against the regime. Instead of coming back to the negotiating table in 2 weeks, as proposed by Sweden, following the breakdown of working-level talks with Washington and Stockholm earlier this month, the North is going all out to push for the lifting or easing of sanctions. It seems that sanctions relief will likely become a precondition for the resumption of nuclear negotiations with the U.S. Then what kinds of sanctions is the North facing? North Korea has been slapped with a total of 11 rounds of sanctions since 2006. But sanctions have become tougher since 2016 when the regime started speeding up its nuclear weapons development, conducting a series of high-profile nuclear and missile tests. The punitive measures in place include a full ban on North Korean shipments of items ranging from military supplies and luxury goods to coal, iron ore, seafood, and textiles. Certain individuals and entities are subject to a global travel ban and asset freeze, while a 2017 United Nations resolution mandates that all North Koreans working abroad return home by late 2019. Individual countries have unilateral sanctions of their own as well. For instance, the U.S. in 2017 targeted people and institutions that do business with North Korea to cut off Pyongyang's sources of revenue and reduce its ability to avoid sanctions. The sanctions that were imposed since early 2016 were the strongest ever arrayed against the regime. During the second North Korea-U.S. summit in Hanoi earlier this year, Pyongyang is known to have sought relief from the last 5 rounds of UN sanctions imposed during that period. It's because the latest sanctions are hurting, and especially because they're directly targeting the party and military elite that live off the state. Frustration is growing among this otherwise well-off group of people, which could in turn undermine Kim's grip on power, since it's the elite class that has been supporting his totalitarian rule. Many military officers are reportedly making less in terms of official state-provided wages than ordinary North Koreans who actively engage in market or 장마당 economic activities. The elite have tried to find other sources of income by siphoning money off export industries, smuggling goods from China, or even collecting bribes from North Koreans seeking to work abroad. But with sanctions getting stricter, the money they used to earn through these alternative routes are drying up as well. That's why many speculate the North Korean leader visited the symbolic Mount Baekdu and Samjeon County last week, where he lashed out at the U.S. for the sanctions against the communist state. That's probably why North Korea's official newspaper Nodongshinmun accused Washington on Monday of using sanctions in order to bring disobedient countries to their knees, stressing the country should stand up to such attempts without giving in to pressure. Especially with no progress in denuclearization talks, no progress in securing sanctions relief, Kim is apparently seeking to shore up the propaganda around his leadership through other means and making a pitch for self-reliance.